Today is Monday, Parashah Devarim. Parashah Devarim is always read on the Shabbat that precedes the fasts of Tisha Beav. This year, the 9th of Av is Shabbat. We postponed the fast to Sunday, but on the day of Shabbat, that is Tisha Beav. And if it was another year where the fast of Av happens in the middle of the week, it will be the Shabbat that precedes the fast. We read Parashat Devarim. And there is a reason for it. Because Parashat Devarim, Moshe Rabbeinu reminds the Jewish people of the occurrence of the Meraglim, the spies that came back from Eretz Yisrael, 10 out of the 12 gave a false report on the land of Canaan. They caused the people to cry. And they were told, according to the Midrash, that they cried in vain on that night. And that night was the 9th of Av, that they would cry for real on the same date in the calendar when the temple would be destroyed and they would go into exile. And therefore, since the parasha includes in it that aspect of the 9th of Av being a day that was in the desert already, a very unfortunate day for the Jewish people, that's why we read the parasha on the Shabbat that precedes Tisha B'Av. But there is more to it. In the parasha of this week, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Echa esa levadi torhachem u'masa'achem verivchem. How can I carry all your complaining and all you being litigious with one another? And the situation was that if somebody had a court case with someone, they would bring more and more proofs that they're right. And if they see they're going to lose, they maybe hire more powerful attorneys just to prove their point, just to make sure that they win in that case. And sometimes people will go to great lengths to be just vindictive and to be litigious, even if they waste more money than is involved, but just to prove their point that they're right and the other person is wrong. That aspect of trying to go strictly and strict with each other is something that Moshe Rabbeinu said how the people were that way, but that is also indicative of what happened during the period of the destruction of the temple. The word that Moshe Rabbeinu uses, Echa. How can I carry all this fighting between you guys? You is the same word that starts the scroll of lamentation. Echa Yasheva Badat, because that's one of the reasons that is brought for the destruction of the temple, because people were not forgiving to each other. People were not kind to each other. People developed and nurtured a kind of sinat chinam, a hatred in vain. And there is never actually totally in vain, a hatred that is totally in vain. Always there is a reason why somebody hates another person. They'll give you 1,000 reasons sometimes why they don't get along with such and such person. And that is also hatred in vain, because people should be forgiving to each other. And Moshe Rabbeinu, by bringing this point in the parasha of this week, Echa esa levadi torhachem u'masa'achem verivchem, actually indicates what was the reason for the destruction of the second temple. It's because of that kind of atmosphere, to be strict with each other. And the story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa is well known, where somebody showed up at a party that he was not invited to. And the host said, what are you doing here? Get out of here. In other words, he could have forgiven him. Let him be, even though the person who came was willing to pay for the party. The guy said, no, you're not invited, please get out. It was a mistake. He was invited by the messenger instead of the other person that had a similar name. Well, by Moshe Rabbeinu mentioning this word Echa, is also hinting to some of the troubles that were there that caused the destruction of the temple. And that's another reason why we read the parasha of this week just on the Shabbat that precedes the fast of Tisha B'Av. May we merit the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.